I've come to realize that so many people around me are people pleasers. If you struggle with confidence, you probably are one too. This is a problem. Most of their justification is, oh, well, I just want to be nice. Being nice gets you nowhere. It isn't authentic, it isn't helpful, and it isn't proactive. Being nice is kind of like, you notice someone has something green in their teeth, and instead of letting them know, you just smile and nod because you don't want to face that conversation. You don't want to make them uncomfortable. You don't want to be uncomfortable. But then if they notice and they call you out for it, you're just going to be like, oh, I didn't notice. You think you're being nice, but in reality, it's very unkind of you. If you were to be kind in this instance, you would let the person know very politely that they might have a little green thing, a little piece of spinach stuck between their teeth. That's a better way to go about it. By being kind, that radiates confidence because it shows that you trust your opinion and you want the best for the other person. If you keep being nice, you'll keep being insecure. So don't be nice, be kind. Hi, my name is Bianca. Welcome back to my channel. I've never asked this before, but I guess I'm gonna ask you to subscribe. Yes, it's selfish and I want this for me, but also if you subscribe to my channel, I'm not asking you to like or comment or anything like that, but if you subscribe because you like my type of content, you will be exposed to similar content to mine, and that will make you a better person. So if you like me, you can do it for me, but it's mostly for you too. So yeah, subscribe if you want. In this video, I will tell you how to be confident by telling you the biggest mistake that you're doing that ruins your confidence. And because this is a self-improvement channel, I not only make you aware of the problem, but I'll give you tools and solutions to how to fix this issue. This is something that you can always expect with my videos, is not only do I make you aware of the problem, but I'll always give you ways to take action and how to overcome them. So this video is for you if obviously you struggle with confidence or you think you're a people pleaser. But it's also for you if you care about what other people think of you, or you feel the need to change your personality based on who you're with, or you're afraid to speak your voice because you don't want to offend anyone, so you mostly agree with other people's sayings. Anything that's related to lack of confidence, this is the video for you, because you're probably doing this one mistake that's literally ruining your self-confidence. And I'm sorry if this is you. I'm sorry you feel this way because you have lost yourself. You've lost touch with who you are. And no wonder why you're not confident, because you're not even living for yourself, you're living for others right now. So right now, it is time for you to become your true confident self. So the reason why you are not confident is because you seek validation from others. In other words, you rely on other people to give you confidence. You are constantly chasing the approval of your parents, your friends, your family, your teachers, your coaches, your siblings, your best friend, your hoes, your lovers. You are seeking the approval of all these people, yet it's so draining. It's never fulfilling. It's never enough. That's normal because true confidence doesn't come from other people. It comes from you and it comes from within. So as corny as that sounds, you have to realize that you are in control of your confidence. The other people around you are not responsible for your confidence. You have to find it yourself. Relying on others for your self-confidence is almost like a drug. It's like you're needing a compliment and you need your next fix. So you'll do anything. You'll mold to other people. You'll agree with people just for them to like you and give you a compliment or approve you. And then the longer you go without it, the more you want it, the more you chase it. And then you get it, but then you rely on it even more and more and more. And then eventually you're addicted to other people's for compliments, and it's never enough. You're always seeking for more and you're never content by yourself. Now you might be wondering if that is even you. You're like, is that me? Do I do that? Well, here are some examples of what you might be doing. You might be selling your body to the internet by posting porn. Yes, softcore porn. You do that, a lot of people, a lot of girls do that through TikTok. As much as you're like, oh, this is so dramatic or that is so extreme, it's not that extreme. A lot of girls show their body on social media in a sexual way to get approval from other people. That's porn. Making your body sexy, sexualize your body for other people to look at it and be turned on by it, that is porn. If you see someone twerking, jiggling, showing off their body, showing up their ass, like a lot of workout videos where you just make sure that you show your juicy butt, or if you're biting your finger, giving you the googly eyes like, like that is just a way to induce men to sexualize you. And a lot of people do that because they need the approval of those men to make themselves feel good about themselves. And I know some of you will be in denial of that and be like, well, some of them are just dancing. Like, what, you're gonna take away self-expression? You know when someone is just expressing and dancing and doing art versus someone that's doing something for attention. We're not stupid. We see the difference. We know, we can clearly see when someone does something because they're insecure. And what's kind of gross about this, and no shade to older men, but a lot of people that watch those videos and that they actually succeed at making them turned on are not even people they want to attract. It's like older horny men or like little boys that need softcore porn because they're getting introduced to sexuality. Like, you're attracting people you don't even want to attract, but those are the ones that validate you. That's what you rely on for your self-worth, for your self-love, for your self-beauty. Those aren't even the people you want to attract. Yet you rely on other people so much for your own validation, your own existence, that you'll go to extremes like that where you'll think it's all innocent, but you'll film yourself and post something and your ass is showing up, and it's like, why are you doing that? You gotta ask yourself those questions. Again, I know there's a difference between body positivity and being confident in your own skin, but a lot of times people do that when they're not confident, and it's not like, oh, they're trying to get out of their comfort zone and doing that, but no, they need other people's approval and other people's praise for them to feel confident. That's where I want you to see the problem is. So if you find yourself as one person that likes to post something just because they need the compliments from other people, I'm talking to you. And it's okay. This is a safe space here. I'm giving you tough love because I want you to wake up. It's okay. It's not your fault you're that way. We're going to work through this. Sorry about this tangent here, but that was just one example of something you might do. But if that really doesn't speak to you, here's another example. Maybe you text a guy you don't even like just because you know you'll get the attention. Or maybe you'll say yes to do something when you actually want to say no, but you don't do it because you fear what other people will think of you. Or maybe you're someone that always fishes for compliments, and you might not even realize that, but sometimes do you say things because you want someone to say, no, that's not true. I had a friend that would always come to me and say like, oh, I'm so fat. And me and a bunch of people, we would hang out with this friend, and she always said she was fat when actually, clearly she wasn't. She was in great shape. She was an athlete. So she had an amazing body, but it's almost like she needed other people to tell her that she looked good. And to me, that screams insecurity. And a lot of times, it doesn't even matter what type of body you are, but if you embrace and you're confident, you're beautiful. But even though she had an amazing body, the fact that she was so insecure, it kind of made her less attractive. Because it's almost like she wanted us to view her a certain way, because that's how she viewed herself. So at some point, it gets tiring to always give compliment to those type of people because it's never enough. They're always looking for more. We get the message. If you keep relying on other people, you'll never be authentically confident. Sure, you can fake your confidence. You can do that, and it can get you some way, but it doesn't feel that great because you kind of feel like you're lying to yourself. You kind of feel like an imposter, like a fraud when you fake being confident. So I want you to build true, authentic confidence. So while I was researching, like, what does confidence mean and what is the definition? Well, being confident basically means that you trust yourself, trust your decisions, trust your opinions, trust your judgment. And because you trust yourself so much, you feel secure, and that gives you confidence. You don't need other people to validate you, validate your self-worth, validate your thoughts. Think about it. If you rely on external things to validate you, you kind of become less of yourself, because everyone around you has such an impact on what you can or can't do. It's like other people decide your life, who you should be, what you should want, and then you become less of a person. Basically, the more you do it, the more you become invisible, because every little people will put their judgment on who you should be, and you want to please everyone, and then you start molding to so many different things, and then you kind of lose touch of who you are authentically. All you need is your own approval, your own validation, independent of anyone. So if you don't know me, like I said, my name is Bianca, but I'm also a professional athlete. And if you always wondered, how do athletes look so confident? Because when you look at them do their craft, they look so confident in themselves. And the reason why athletes have such an easy time to be confident on their own is because, first of all, you cannot rely on other people to give you confidence as an athlete. Because if you're on a team sport, As much as you're playing with teammates, you're also competing against your teammates, because at the end of the day, you want to be selfish and have the starting position. So as much as you don't want it to be a competition, it is still a competition, and it's still very selfish, and you have to have the confidence from yourself, because your teammates won't give it to you. At the end of the day, they want it just as bad as you do. And the other way why you can't rely on others for your confidence, you can't rely on your coaches to give you confidence, because they have a team to prepare, they have sessions to prepare. They don't have you to worry about. They expect you to be ready and give your performance that you need to give. It's not their responsibility to give you confidence. You're the one that needs to show up and show them that you belong there. So athletes have a natural tendency to develop innate confidence, because that's what you got to do to thrive. And especially in the professional world, where we're the top of the top, we really need to be confident on our own. We cannot rely on external people. So I'm going to use a little bit of the teachings that I've used in my sport to help you, if you're an athlete or not, whatever situation you're in, to be confident. So like I said, true confidence comes from a firm belief and trust in yourself. So if you want to trust yourself, you got to know yourself. Just kind of like an athlete, if they want to trust and be confident in their game, they got to know that they have the abilities to play well. If you know your abilities, if you know your skills, your craft, you will trust that you can do what you got to do, and then it gives you confidence. Got to be the same thing about who you are. You got to know who you are if you want to trust who you are, and that gives you confidence. In my previous videos, I've talked about getting to know who you are by looking into your past. But I'm going to recap and summarize a lot of the findings here to give you a big overall general idea of how to get to know yourself. So if you want to know yourself, you got to analyze your past, because your past is what has shaped who you are today. Kind of like any skill set that you have, the skill set that you have today comes from the practice of those skills that you've done in the past. So the past is what makes you you today. That doesn't mean that your past dictates your future, and that's going to be covered later on in this video. But just so you know, who you are right now is the result that every little thing that's happened to you up until today. But when I talk about your past, I really want you to revisit everything in your childhood, because a lot of our beliefs and our thoughts about who we are and where we belong in the world comes from our experiences as a child. And this can be such a wide range of experiences. Even though sometimes you might think something has been very small and not impactful, it could be way more than you think. I'm going to give you a couple examples to give you some food for thought. A reason why you might be insecure today and you seek the approval from others is maybe because when you were a kid, you never got that approval from your parents or your teachers or your friends. So that would be an obvious one. If you feel like as a kid you were always chasing already the approval from others, that's probably why you're still doing it today. But it could also be the opposite, which is also interesting. Maybe your parents were really praising you and telling you good job and always defending you, and it was never your fault, and they actually validated who you are. But then as you grow up, you kind of separate yourself from your parents a little bit, and you kind of expect other people to give it to you just the way your parents gave it to you, but then you don't get it that way. Now you might struggle and feel insecure because you're like, oh my God, I've always had that and now I don't have it. Does that mean it's not true anymore? And then that's where your lack of confidence can come from. Maybe a parent or both parents weren't around when you were a kid too. You always were looking for attention. And maybe think about your school experience. Would you often get into trouble with your teachers? Maybe you were looking for that attention. That situation might have deeply shaped who you are today, and that could be the reason why you lack confidence. Maybe your parents were judgmental, and not necessarily to you, but maybe you've listened to your parents growing up and they were very judgmental about other people. That made you think that the world was very judgmental and that you didn't want people to judge you the way that your parents judged others. So you got the message that you needed to act like a people pleaser so people accepted you, so you wouldn't be judged. Or maybe you grew up in a very strict and disciplined household and you felt that to be normal, you had to rebel, do what other people were doing that were different, that might have not been good for you, but you feel like if you did it, they would like you. And then that kind of gave you the idea that you need to do things that are sabotaging you for you to be liked. Maybe you had bullies as a child, and I'm not talking about the typical school bully, but your friends. A lot of your friends as kids have bullied you and you don't even realize that. I had so many of my friends that bullied me, and thank God overcame that, but I could have been totally different if it wasn't for other life circumstances. They might have made fun of you for doing some things differently, for liking things differently, so you have changed who you are just to feel accepted, and now today you're still people pleasing, you're still changing who you are and what you want just to make sure that other people's well-being are met. The reasons are endless. I could go on forever about so many different ways about your childhood that shaped who you are today, but it is your responsibility and it is your homework to look into your past and realize what has shaped you today. Put your investigation hat and get to work. Do some shadow work. You can literally go on Google or go into my video about, I forget my title, one of my previous videos. It had a whole screenshot that you could take about shadow work questions for yourself to dig into your past. Ask some questions about what attachment style you have, because that, once you figure out your attachment style, that has a lot to do with how you were raised and how you received love as a child, and that can also be the reason why you act a certain way today and why your relationships are so messed up, is because your attachment style isn't secure. I'm actually going to put the free quiz in the description for you to take the quiz. Well, I always love taking a quiz. I've always been like that, even in magazines as a kid. That was my favorite thing. But you should do it so you can just ask yourself different questions and get to know yourself better. So your experiences and your upbringings are very unique. They are unique to you. Only you has lived through that. But as much as that is different and unique to everybody, the result is always the same. If you don't know yourself, you won't be confident. So the goal for all this, to dig into your past, is to get to understand why you say certain things, why you believe certain things, why you act in certain ways, why you're toxic to others, why you're defensive sometimes, why you're self-sabotaging. You want to know the reasons why you think, feel, and behave the way you do today. But now that you're self-aware, you can break the pattern, and that doesn't mean that what you've been through and who you've been, you have to hold on to that and keep being that insecure person that you are. Now you get to focus on the present moment and build yourself to be the highest version of yourself. Here's where it gets interesting. Once you know yourself, you won't ever need the validation from anyone. No one's opinion can bring you down, can affect you, because no one will know you more than you do. Because you're telling me that if someone thinks something of you, it can hurt you, when that person doesn't even know you the way that you know yourself. Anything that someone says about you that's not true is simply not true, because you know that about yourself. So why would you let their opinion, their judgment, their criticism affect how you feel when you are so in touch with who you are? No one can validate or discredit you, because no one knows you better than you do. Conversely, if you don't know yourself and you don't want to face your past, when someone starts saying something about you, like criticizes you or tells you something that kind of presses your buttons and wants to make you feel defensive, you're never going to feel good about yourself, because you'll feel like what they say might be true, because you don't know yourself, and you're like, oh, maybe it's true. Maybe I am selfish. Maybe I don't appreciate things. Maybe I am self-centered. You won't have the confidence to be unbothered, because you don't know yourself. And those people see you as someone that isn't self-aware and is defensive, so when they call you out, they feel good about themselves because they feel like they know you better. But if you know yourself, you're like, whatever you say, it's like, it's almost funny at that point, because it's like, you have the audacity to think that you think what you know what's best for me. Don't seek their approval. Don't seek their compliments for your self-worth. So do the work to know yourself, because the feeling of being unbothered by what people think of you, unmatched. Let me give you some perspective. You're the only one that can know yourself inside and out. Not your friends, not your best friend, not your parents or siblings. No one can know you as well as you can. You're in control of that. Every single person in your life has a different perspective of who you are, because people view you not as you are, but as they are. They view you based on their life experiences, their traumas, their insecurities. Other people are simply projecting their life journey, their opinions, their ideas onto you, and realize that your parents and your best friend and your sibling, they all have a different life story, so they'll all have a different perspective of who you are. No one knows you. Only you can. And that's why I'm saying, whatever other people think shouldn't affect you because whatever they think is inaccurate. They don't know shit about you. They don't know your inner thoughts. They don't know the small experiences that no one can see but you can. They don't know your inner dialogue. They don't know your internal feelings. No matter how long someone has known you for, they don't know. So why treat their beliefs about yourself as core truth? Let's say you have a friend that calls you out and tells you you're selfish because you don't want to go to a dinner party with them and their coworkers. Oh my God, I've done all of this for you and you can't even do the smallest little thing for me. Like, you're so selfish. No, you're not selfish. You respect yourself. You respect your boundaries. You know what's best for you. You have plans to do self-care for that night. You don't owe anything to anyone. You are putting yourself first because you know that that's better for your well-being. You don't want to spend your Saturday night going to a party you don't want to go to, hang out with people you don't even know, don't even like. You are respecting yourself because you know what's best for you. You know yourself. You know your values. You know what you want. You know yourself. So that gives you the confidence to put your foot down and stand up for yourself and not having to people please and get out of your way and say yes to go to those type of parties when you don't want to. That friend's opinion about you being selfish doesn't matter. And if they were really your friend, they would be happy for you to take care of yourself and they would respect that. So take a deep look. Who are your real friends here? At the end of the day, those people that call you out and criticize you for shit like that, they're probably insecure themselves. They're probably jealous that you can do that for yourself, that you respect yourself, because they love disrespecting you because that's just a reflection of how they feel about themselves. They are simply jealous that you are confident enough to say no and put yourself first because they wish they could do that for themselves. So at the end of the day, people's opinions have nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. And I'm not saying that what everybody's saying and everybody's opinion about you is bad. A lot of times people will say opinions to you that are good as well. That doesn't matter either. You have to be careful with when people compliment you because you don't want to depend on that for your self-worth. When someone compliments me, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, but I let it go. Because when someone says that, I'm always like, yeah, I know. In my mind, obviously, I'm not going to say that to their face. But it's like, yes, I know I'm a kind person. I know I'm thoughtful. I know I'm beautiful. Thank you. But I don't rely on that to feel good about myself. I let it go because if I rely on those positive comments for my self-worth, well, that means I will also rely on bad comments for self-worth. So if someone says something about me that is unkind, I will take it personal. And I don't want to do that. So because I validate myself and I know myself, and I give myself all the compliments I need. I look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, you sexy today. You're amazing. You're beautiful. You radiate energy. You're changing the world. You're a great friend. You're an amazing daughter. When I tell myself those compliments, I don't need it from anyone else. I know maybe you might think this is cringe, but I'm confident. I'm happy. You should be as well if you just do the shit that you need to do. So it's important for me to just be humble and accept the compliments, but don't feed on it to rely on it for your self-worth. Detach from it, accept them as truths, like tell me something I don't know, and then move on. You don't have to boost your ego. It doesn't have to be like that, because that will ruin your confidence. So just focus on validating yourself first, giving yourself the compliments and the love that you need so you're not a puppet to other people's feelings and opinions. Now, as I said earlier, true confidence comes from trusting yourself. But if you want to build more confidence, it basically means you got to build more trust. So how can you build more trust in yourself? The best way to build some trust is to follow through what you say. Let me give you an example. If you have a friend that says, I'll come pick you up at 8 p.m. 7:50, they're not there. Fine, they did say 8. It's 8, not there. 8:10, 8:15. It could be 30 minutes, an hour later, or maybe eventually they just cancel. You're like, fine, it happens. Whatever. Won't really change the relationship with your friend. But then the next week, the same thing happens again, where they're late. And every time they say that they would pick you up at a certain time, they never show up on time. Eventually, you just won't trust the person. You won't trust what they say. You won't trust that they'll pick you up at a certain time because they keep failing. They keep saying they would do something and they keep not following through. So they failed you. It's normal that you don't trust them anymore because you don't have proof to trust them. You have to create your own proof. And by doing that is when you tell yourself something, you gotta follow through what you say. So if you tell yourself, I'm going to wake up early tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. and get a workout in, you better wake up at 6 and get your workout in. Because if you don't do it, you failed. And then if you do it again, you'll fail again. And then you'll sabotage your trust in yourself because you keep disrespecting your words. Same with anything that you tell yourself. You'll stop drinking. You'll set these boundaries. Oh, if he does this to me again, I'm breaking up with him. And then you don't break up with him. If you say that you'll stop eating junk food or you won't smoke weed anymore, every time that you don't follow through, you don't do what you say to yourself, you're losing trust in yourself. So make sure that when you say something, you do it. Because then you'll have undeniable proof that whatever you say to yourself, you mean it. If not, you're just putting a spell onto your brain to not trust yourself. Words cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. Isn't it an amazing saying? Words are so powerful, they're like spells. So if you tell yourself you do something and then you don't do it, it's kind of changing your brain to make you think that you shouldn't trust yourself. Your own words are so powerful to you that they can determine how you feel, and consequently, they can determine your future because they impact what you do. Now that you know yourself and then you trust yourself, that's already a good combination to make you feel confident. Like I said earlier, you know yourself from your past, but that doesn't mean it's the best version of yourself that you can be. Why not create a version of yourself that you want to be that is the highest confidence self that you can? What does that version of yourself look like? How do they dress? How do they speak? How do they present themselves? How do they interact with people? How do they feel on a daily basis? You have to imagine yourself as that confident person and be like, how would that person act? This is where you gotta be a little bit delusional and think of yourself as a king or a queen, and you're like, that person has boundaries, that person has self-respect, they walk in a room and they feel like all eyes are on them. You want to view yourself as the most confident self in the most humble way, because if you don't view yourself that way, if you don't treat yourself that way, who will? No one will treat you the way that you can treat yourself. You can be the kindest, most loving person to yourself, and you have to do that because no one owes that to you. When you close your eyes and you just think of that version of you, how they feel when they first wake up in the morning, when they go in a new room and there's full of people, how do they feel? How confident are they walking in? How confident are they when they are speaking with people? How confident are they when they're working and doing a task, and then they take a break and then they go to the bathroom and then they see themselves in the mirror? How confident do they feel? How proud are they to see who they see into the mirror? Set yourself a mantra, like some affirmations that you can tell yourself, like, for example, tell yourself, I can accomplish anything I put my mind to. Honestly, this mindset, if you actually tell yourself that, you decide if it's true or not. I decided it's true for me. I literally believe that if I put my mind to something, I can achieve anything I want. You need to do that for yourself, and it's only true if you make it true. I hope you're starting to really, truly understand and realize that confidence comes from within. It's not from external validation. It's not from possessions and awards. It comes from you. And once you give it to yourself, everything good in life will happen to you. Everything will flow into you. And I'm not going to go into the law of attraction and everything, but it is true that if you love yourself and you're confident about who you are, everything around you will just work out. And once you're confident, it's over for everyone. You're unstoppable. Now I want to finish this section of this video by giving you some rapid fire of everything that you need to avoid. The first thing you don't want to do is over compliment people. I remember I had a friend that used to compliment me so much all the time, and you'd think, oh, it's very nice of her, but I knew it came from a place of insecurity, and it's sad, but I could tell that she was just very insecure, and it was almost like I was like this godlike person to her. As much as I'd like to think it's sweet, I thought it was a little bit sad because I could feel the envy in her voice. And oftentimes what she would compliment me on, it was what she didn't have. Don't do that for other people. Don't over compliment people because kind of look at them as godlike people when actually you are a god. Don't think anyone else is like better than you. You are perfectly fine being yourself. Next, don't feel like you need your friends' approvals for an outfit for a certain event. Wear whatever the fuck you want. If it doesn't have like a very strict dress code, wear things that will attract whatever you want to attract. Use that as a self-expression and don't feel like you need to match and wear what everybody else is wearing. That will make you feel like you're being authentic to yourself. Same thing with whatever you want to post on social media. You're not helping your self-confidence if you rely on other people's opinions of what you should post. So let's say you have a couple pictures. You clearly have one that you really like more. Post whatever you want. Don't go to your friends saying, should I post this or should I not? Like, if you want to post it, just post it. I have a friend that is like so attractive. She's beautiful. She has a beautiful face, but also an amazing body. She's very sexy. When she would take her pictures, everybody was in awe of her pictures, but she was so insecure about how she looked. It was undeniable. Everybody knew that. And we were all so shocked because she has a dream body. When she had to post something, oftentimes she would end up not posting or asking everybody their opinion. And it kind of just, over time, made her look less attractive because it's almost like she resonated that she shouldn't be as attractive as we made her seem like. Just another reason why you shouldn't just seek for other people's approval. Just like own your body, own yourself, own your pictures, post whatever you want. Next thing is, don't ever take anything personally. A lot of times toxic people make you feel a certain way that is so negative, but toxic people don't go to you specifically because it's personal. Toxic people will go to anyone that let them come in. So if you don't let toxic people in your life, or you don't take anything personally of whatever you can't control, you're fine. I have a friend of mine, well, I wouldn't really call her my friend. She would always say things to other people, like when she would retell a story, she would always distort the story to make her look good and me look bad. And I used to be so bothered by that because I'm like, why are you telling lies to other people about me? Like, it's different if you tell it to my face, but you're telling it to all these other people, and then they're kind of changing their opinion about me. But then I realized that if I am authentic to me, people will know me for who I am. And if they're mature enough, they will get to know me for who I am without just making prejudgments from other people. But also, like I said, toxic people are toxic to everybody. So that person eventually would do the same thing to all these other people, and people eventually realize that that person was the problem and she would just tell lies. So they knew not to trust her. It's so much better to just let those things go than like feel like just taking their toxicity and make them put you down and feel insecure about yourself and what they're saying and feel so defensive, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what toxic people say because they are toxic. Then if you have a big decision to make, don't go to your friends or your parents for advice. Try to make the decision first to see what you actually want, and then you can go to them to see if it's wise or for extra advice. Because you don't want to have to rely on other people to make big decisions for you, because at the end of the day, they want maybe what's best for you, but they'll have their perception of how it can help them as well. So make the decision for yourself and then reach out to other people. Don't gossip for attention. Actually, don't gossip at all. Gossiping brings you nowhere, and it shows that you are untrustworthy and judgmental. And if you want to carry that label for yourself, just keep gossiping. If you want to be confident, you don't want to have in the back of your mind that you are untrustworthy. So don't participate in gossip. Next, don't pretend that you know something. Don't just nod and like try to pretend that you know what the person is talking about, because then you're not actively participating in the conversation and it doesn't look like you can show your personality. It looks like you are more confident if you ask a question and you just acknowledge that you don't know the thing. Not only do you build the courage and you have the confidence to ask, but for yourself, you get to learn something new. And the more knowledge you get, the better you feel about yourself, because you feel like you are growing. And there's no better feeling than feeling like you're evolving as a person versus just staying the same. This one, very simple. Don't over apologize. Don't apologize for things that are out of your control. Don't feel sorry more than you need to. If it is your fault, take ownership, but if it's something that's totally out of your control, don't make it seem like you're a bad person. If something happens that was totally out of your control, like you were leaving, you were on time, but then you get a flat tire and then it makes you late. Instead of coming in and just apologizing, I'm so sorry, I'm late, I'm sorry, I should have been here, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Instead, just say thank you for your patience. Maybe you can say it once, I apologize for being late, but thank the person for being patient and understanding, because that's how they should be. They shouldn't just feel sorry for you. They shouldn't feel like they're offended by what you did, because that wasn't your fault. That was out of your control. Take ownership, be sorry once, but don't over apologize. And then the last thing is, don't say yes to everything. That just keeps reinforcing that you're a people pleaser. You cannot be truly confident if you're always worrying about the well-being of other people. Start respecting yourself by respecting your boundaries and saying no when you want to say no. Let's say you feel like you don't want to drink anymore because you're on your self-improvement journey and you've seen benefits of not drinking, but then your friends want to go out and you're like, you know that if you go out, you'll be tempting to drink, so you want to say no, but then you don't want them to judge you for not going out. This is the time to be courageous and say no and respect yourself. And you will build confidence if you tell yourself that, again, you don't want to do something and you follow through what you say. If you end up going out anyways and end up drinking, you're still afraid of what people think of you. So how can you be confident if you don't even treat yourself with respect? So let me wrap this up and end with this. Being confident is a skill that you build. It's not something that you're born with. You can be more confident, and it's not like the confidence that you will achieve maybe through this video is the max confidence you can have. You can always become more confident and still be humble. You're not being over the top. You're not being ahead of yourself. You're being humble and confident, and you just basically respect yourself. That is what it's all about. Whatever you envy from other people, maybe you see an extroverted person, and you're like, that person's so confident, I wish I was confident like that. Just remind yourself that, first of all, extroverted people are usually the most insecure. You really don't know other people's inner thoughts, just like they don't know yours. So once you know yourself, you trust yourself, you create the version of yourself that you want to be, just become that person. Nothing's holding you back. I love you. Thank you for watching. But most importantly, love yourself. You need to love yourself. I'll see you in my next video, and yeah, bye.